Yeah.
क्यों नहीं आ रहा बोला है
अच्छा भैया मैडम मैडम
मैम यहाँ पे बोला है भी नहीं आ रहा
क्या हिमांशु सर एक मिनट
You can put the fan a bit this way. No fan is coming.
okay done
हो गया
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to yet another exciting episode of CampusCare EdTalks, a platform where educators and leaders express their viewpoints on burning topics related to education. But before I begin, let me quickly introduce Entab to you. We are a 20-year-old IT company engaged in providing school ERP, CRM, and mobile apps to top schools of India and help transform good schools to the best schools. Now, you must be wondering why an IT company is holding such events. We understand that there is need for a common platform wherein educators shall express their viewpoints. Thus, we have our Campus Care EdTalks. Parenting is delicate dance. One of the most troublesome parts of parenting is knowing when to let your child struggle to learn, grow, and when to intercede. Gaining more self confidence and increasingly doing more things without parents is an essential and natural part of growing up. But what can the parents or teachers do to make their kids and get their assistance? And if necessary, some nudging is also required. They need to become confident, self reliant individuals. To talk more about avenues and to explore ideas about the same, we have with us Dr. Manjula Raman, ma'am, CEO of Royal Concord International Group of Schools, Bangalore. She is an M.Ed, M.Phil, PhD, MS in Counseling and Psychotherapy, Diploma in German Language, Strategic Management, and IIMA Core Skills Expert. With 30 years as a college lecturer and as a head of Army Public Schools, she has been honored with many national and international awards. With this, I would like to welcome Dr. Manjula Raman, ma'am, to Campus Care EdTalks. Welcome to Campus Care, ma'am.
Hello, everyone. A great honor to be online, to meet everyone. I think this is the most beautiful opportunity that pandemic has allowed for us to reach out the best people in the world. And thank you, Entab, for having invited me today.
The pleasure is all ours, ma'am. Thank you for joining us today. So to begin with, ma'am, as an ed leader, why is it so necessary nowadays to encourage confidence in children?
Well, I think as a culture, India is a country where the mollycoddling goes much beyond even 30 years. We have sons who go up to their mothers to ask, "Can we take this decision?" So it is in our culture, and it's very important that we in India understand that we have to nurture a child to be independent. Yes, depending on the parents or elders or the teachers is fantastic, but over dependence is something we have to stop, because that makes our children absolutely not able to take decisions, and that's a great skill that many of our children do not have. And that is why independent children, and how do we bring that independence? The independence can only come when we give them the opportunity. No independence will come unless that opportunity is provided. I mean, how lucky we are as parents, teachers, elders to have a beautiful mold of clay, I would call a small baby, right from his walking, his talking, his thinking, his making impressions in life. They're all modeled on people that he is surrounded with. And I would think aptly the NTAB has thought about independent, curious, confident children who become empowered in the process.
Yes, ma'am, completely true. We have to empower our own children. So, raising a more confident, curious, and self reliant child starts with teaching them how to play without you. All children have the potential and drive to explore their imagination and play on their own. So, how to foster this kind of independence in the children?
I totally agree. I think play is the first lesson. I would say it is the first classroom, the place where a child plays. And if we allow a child to play independently without we elders getting or even commenting on what they are doing, that helps a child to actually become future independent individuals. It also helps in the skill of curiosity, in the skill of problem solving, in the skill of creative thinking. When I say play, I would think every child should be given an independent corner, a small space, with not crowded with toys. We find a lot of young parents today, they feel, well, I did not have the most zanziest toy when I was a kid. So every time I go into the mall or anywhere shopping, I get a toy for my kid. The kid also grows up by saying, okay, that's the newest toy which has come into the market and I must have it. But how long is the interest alive? It's very, very small because every single day, by the time they've got used to one toy, they're lined up with another toy. And that does not allow them to think, use creatively, strategize what they're going to do with that plaything and move forward. And I would think a play area, the playing role itself is the first lesson that a parent can give to their kids. And that is the first lesson of independence. When a few toys are given to the kids, and I would suggest that it should be a mix of toys, not least of all, I would think anything which is flashy, battery operated, because then it makes the child just a dumb watcher. Because the parents will key up the toy, and the toy will show something, there'll be some psychedelic lights coming. There's no scope for the child to strategize or think ahead. So that is why blocks, those puzzles, these things were introduced into the playthings. But that's not all. I would think you don't have to even invest in those things. You can give some leaves, you can give them some pots, some pans, some screws, or some little things in the house which you do not require, as long as it is safe and the child doesn't put it into their mouth or get hurt by it. And that will allow a child to think of ways of playing with what he has. And then if he has a new toy, introduce it after a period of time so that the novelty remains. The child starts playing with it, and then the parent, obviously, I would suggest during playtime, it's a total no for a parent to say any remarks, even appreciative remarks or hugging the kid. Just leave him alone. That's the time where his motor skills and his minds are working together. And it's important that we allow that.
Thank you, ma'am. So true. So, all the parents out there, ma'am has pointed out some avenues to think out of the box and to engage the children. So, before we continue, I would welcome all the viewers who are watching our show. And if you've not subscribed, please hit that button and click the bell icon for regular updates and more exciting sessions. So, as ma'am, you were telling that the parents should think out of the box. So they do play a very influential role in the child's life. So what are the biggest parenting mistakes that you think that affect a kid's confidence? As an edu leader, can you give some tips to avoid these mistakes?
Yeah. I would think, the initial years in a child's life is all on modeling. The child just sees and imitates. And so it's very important that the parent, see, we are adults, so we have moments of stress, we have moments of joy, we have moments of anger. So, as far as possible, the parent can be absolutely human, sometimes getting angry or getting stressed, but not overly, so that the child thinks that he has to behave in a certain way. You would see a small little fellow, behaving so adultish by wearing not only the shoe of his father or the hat, but also trying to talk or carrying the mobile, as the mother calls, because they're modeling, they're imitating. So it's important that the model for your kid is the correct one. Try and be the best model for your kid, because after all, you are going to influence his life for another 100 years. You might have lived for 25, 30, 40, whatever is your age, but you are influencing for 100 years, and a century is a long time. And just imagine how lucky you are to be influencing that. So, being a good role model is important. Second is, many parents try to have a halo around that they cannot make a mistake. They are some superhuman beings. At least during our times when we were kids, we grew up thinking that our parents are nothing less than demigods, and we were even frightened to talk to them because we would think we are not good enough to talk. And the Indian culture also, in our respect, we are not allowed to back answer, even to put forth a point, because that would be called as something which is not encouraged in most houses. So be a human being, be yourself, a person who can make mistakes, a person who can learn from a kid. Because sometimes a small little kid, we are not able to do something with a gadget. It's another kid who's about 6 or 7 years who will just walk up to you and say, "Oh, pa, do it this way, it will work." Or they know the latest what is on technology, or they think out of the box. They're not encompassed into that straight jacket, so they can think beyond. So a parent has to be magnanimous to accept that he's not old enough that he shouldn't learn from a kid. He could learn a lot of things from there. He become a buddy. At the same time, having that parent-child relationship, I wouldn't say that a parent should become exactly like a kid, but have a good relationship where a child can talk to you, and you are able to actually share the same kind of interests.
So true, ma'am. So true. So, ma'am, as we were discussing that parents should present examples to their children and act like a role model, since many kids are mirroring their teachers as well. What is the first piece of advice you give to the teachers to improve the confidence of the children along with the academic grades they have?
Yeah, I think the teacher is the second parent, because as the child grows, obviously after 3 years, he spends a lot of time with this individual more than even his parents. Because many times when a child reaches home, the parents are not there, they are working, they come back late, and it's over the weekend that they have the parent all to themselves. Thanks to the pandemic, the bonding has become better. So we have a lot of things to thank the pandemic and not only curse it. That it brought the families together, it brought the children closer to the parents. The parents realized that it is a tough job to raise children, a tough job of the teachers. So, as teachers, I would think the first most important thing is that approachability. The genuine approachability. The child should trust a teacher. The child should feel that this person has the best interest in his heart or her heart, and I should be able to reach out and talk about anything of my difficulties, whether it is academic or whether it is with friends or whether it's about life. So, one is the approachability. Second is, again, I would think a teacher is a kind of outside the family, where a child may feel like actually telling a lot of things which the child may not speak to the parents. So it helps a teacher to be a counselor to a child. She's able to give a unjaundiced outlook to any problem that a child might come. Because as a parent, I don't want my child not to be good in maths or not to be having some problems in schools or whatever. But as a teacher, I'm able to see that this is very normal. Lots of children have the same problem, and I'm able to counsel the children. Second is kindness and going beyond the job. I think teaching is something, it's a mission. It's again a gift of God. that you are with children and you have such a great influence. I've often said that teachers are celebrities for life. First, it is the kids, then it's their parents, then it's their grandparents, then it's the kids' children, there, so on and so forth. So, as you get older, you become bigger celebrities because people look up to you. They look at you as a person that one can reach out to. So, I think the first thing is that, the credibility of the person, the honesty, the credibility, the approachability of a teacher is very, very important. And that is what makes a unique teacher. It is a teacher who can understand what's in the heart of the child by just looking at him. And it becomes your habit as you grow as a teacher.
Completely agreed, ma'am. So, to all our viewers, please be the friends of your children. Learn how to communicate with them. So, ma'am, as you were telling the role that parents and teachers should have to communicate with their children, the children should also be taught how to make a self worth. So, to build a self worth and to help them feel that they can handle anything that comes their way. What is your point of view about that? How should teachers and parents do that?
I see, I would think the first thing is that to let every child know that although they are the perfect creation of God, but imperfection is there in everyone. We should not have this syndrome of no mistakes. Everything should go in a tickety bow. All of us love things to go in the fashion, the way that we have planned for the day. Nothing goes, even a day doesn't go the way we planned in the morning. There are so many turmoils. So the child should be, taught to accept his imperfections in his own individual way. He's a perfect human being, but compared to others, he would have certain strengths, certain imperfections, certain skills, certain, lack of skills. So when a child is able to look at himself and accept himself in whichever way that he is able to overcome difficulties. When if he grows with that overconfidence, see, today we often hear that every little achievement should be celebrated. Then we talk, it's done in a big, huge way, and so a child wants to be in that limelight always, but doesn't understand that there would be times when there would be another winner who will take his place. And that is where that he should be accepting. Oh, fantastic. He should have that magnanimity to accept that somebody has done it better than him, and he will model himself if he wants to as that person. If this person is very good in games and has achieved fantastic accolades, the child can model himself again. If he's not a games kind of a person, he's a reader or a book person, let the child model himself to that. That's his strength. So the very fact that every child understands that he's unique, he's got his beautiful skills and gifts and talents of life, but he is not the same as another individual. That's very important. And there may be times in his life when he's lost and it is not the perfect thing that he planned for himself. And that is when they accept their imperfections, they're able to accept themselves, and then it becomes an easy road to success.
Completely agreed, ma'am. So true and so beautifully you explained how children will actually learn. So, ma'am, as we were talking about parents and the teacher's role, even when we see outside our house, what types of things do you think? What type of things do you see outside the household that affects a child's confidence and self-esteem? Could you please tell our viewers about that?
See, inside, you're talking about what happens in the home that takes away the confidence of the child?
Ma'am, I am saying that there are so many things outside the household
Oh,
that
how?
this
Yeah,
that builds
yeah.
the confidence. What are those things?
Yes, yes. So, see, the home, the school, the relatives, the school bus, all these are very protected environments. But the child obviously cannot be there always. The child will meet up with the outside world, and the world outside would be very different. The very fact that a child is exposed to the realities of the world, it is very wrong to keep the child away from reality. I wouldn't say that a parent has to discuss, their social status or their economic status with the kid. But they definitely have to make the child empathetic to the world around them. If the child is in a certain school or has a certain car or a toy, there are many other kids in the world who do not have. If the parents are very protective, there are children who are disowned by parents. They are left, they're many times picked up by orphanages, they grow there, they become good individuals, or sometimes even difficult human beings. But exposing the child to the reality and always being there as a buffer for the kid. We cannot allow all our children to be absolutely sad and wonderstruck like Buddha was when he first came out of his palace and saw all the pain around the world, that he had to renounce the world and become Buddha, because that would be the highest form of thinking. But we are all just normal human beings. But exposing a child in different ways, maybe a small act of kindness, maybe if it's a birthday, calling the maid's children also along with the friends of the kids, or visiting some orphanages, hospitals, going to a railway station and seeing what happens, sharing a small nashta with the people on the streets. These are small values that will make a child understand that the world is of unequals. It is not equal at all. And as he grows up, and all of us as individuals, we are always looking at somebody who's better than us. If you are the prime minister, you want to become the prime minister of perhaps England or something. So, there's never looking down. So, but as one of the sayings says, that you will thank God when you look down and see that there are many people who do not have all the things that you have been so lucky to get. So, I would think keeping away children from the realities of life doesn't help, because then it'll be a shocker for them. They'll never be able to face life. Maybe sometimes even taking them in a crowded bus or a crowded train, not always in the comfort of a car. Sometimes actually walking, which our children hardly do these days, and walking and just watching the place around. Just a half a kilometer walk from the house to the outside world will expose a child to many new things, to many difficulties in life, to the inequality of life. And if there is a parent who can explain that to a kid, fantastic. That's the greatest lesson we can give to our children.
Very true, ma'am. Very true. How beautifully you've explained that the child should be exposed to everything so it does not get a shocker. So, obviously, ma'am, as we know, school is essential for the kids. But it is also true that as parents, we are not really in control of everything our children experience at school. So, how can teachers counter this negativity encountered in school, or, as we all know right now, social media? What extent shall the teachers be involved in all those things?
See, I think, why do children get into the wrong areas on a social media? Because of curiosity. We understand that those kids who we thought were babies uh, today are exposed to a lot of things in maybe class 5 or 6. Any kind of sex education or any kind of adult education happened only in the 8th, 9th, 10th, and we would see, issues of relationships, of bullying and things coming up. But today we see even a child of second standard is bullying another person because mere pitaji ye hai, or I am so and so son, or I belong to this caste, or whatever. It is all modeled to what they see on media, what they see in movies, what they see in behavior patterns around them. So the school is that place where every child is equal. The very fact that most of our schools have uniforms, why was the uniform there? Not to make every child look beautiful, of course, that's one of the things, but to give equality to every kid. There, we do not, uh, have those statuses where somebody comes in, Armani dresses, or carrying a bag which is very expensive, and another kid. So we have a uniformed kind of dress code in a school. That itself is a lesson for every kid, that every kid is equal. As for the exposure to the social media, I think the sooner the children are taught that what are the dangers that is lurking behind all those things that look fantastic, a game, or talking to a friend. And the very fact that when we tell the kids that every little thing which you do on the social media, especially the teenagers, this everything is stored and everything can be retrieved. Just a few days back, I lost all my contacts and I was scared. I said, oh God, my life is all about contacts. And then, my secretary told me, oh, ma'am, we can retrieve it. Everything that is there, we'll retrieve it. So everything, the footprint. So whatever you say on the social media, what you did on the social media, who are your friends on the social media, there is a history stored. And later on, if it is wrong, it'll come to haunt you. So the sooner we tell the children that these are the dangers, well, it's fantastic to catch up with old school friends or whatever it is, but make sure that you have a certain discipline in how you function on the social media. And the school is the best place because, like all parents say, they will listen to a teacher. The parent might be the biggest scientist, but they like to learn the science from the school teacher. So when a teacher tells them this, I think keeping these things away from the school, from the children, also the school is not doing a favor, because many schools don't want to talk about sex education. Sometimes they don't want to talk about social media. They don't want to talk about pedophilia. They don't want to talk about people who are actually haunting children on social media. They don't want to talk about bullying. So that's not the right approach. I think a good discussion with the kids, that this is wrong and this is right and this is where you can get into trouble, will definitely keep them off the trouble at least. And then I think it is a way of building the cult. I find at the moment children are so fed up of screen time that they just don't want to play with the mobiles or be on a laptop. Yes, there is a flip side to it, that some children are doing it a little too much. They are having chess online. They are having a lot of gaming done. But uh, when we tell them that, when you pause and look around and be away from the screen time, that's the most beautiful experience that you can have. And slowly that culture can be built up. Not easy, but can be done.
Our educators and parents are actually working very hard to build that kind of a culture. Thank you, ma'am. I hope your message reaches to the right ears and brings about a positive change. With this, we come to the end of our